Good morning, everyone, and welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser. Friday morning, and it is time to be reckless. We're always brought to you by our friends at Reckless Coffee Roasters, but Fridays are more reckless than usual, especially with these two bozo reckless guys. Ozzy is with us, Anan is with us. Gentlemen, not a lot of headlines this morning, but there's definitely some stuff to get to. Kazi, I'll start with you because it's your favorite team in the headlines. Everton withdrawing their points deduction appeal, basically saying, hey, we're not going to get relegated anyway. That's right. We were guilty. Don't worry about it. This kind of like, I want to ask you because I know you're a huge lover of like Everton Football Club in general. But aside from that, it's like it kind of like brings up the point of how should these teams be punished? Because a mid-table team has nothing to worry about if all they're going to get is 2 points anyway, if they're caught.
Yeah, it's an odd one, this, because Everton's 2-point deduction appeal, they put in the appeal, but Everton already admitted fault that they were guilty anyway. But it's like saying, yeah, I was caught speeding, but I don't want the speeding ticket.
Yeah.
But you said you were speeding, yeah, but I still don't want the ticket. So, but Everton withdrawing this is actually quite, I think, a smart move from Everton because, of course, if you get found guilty again, then they can take more points off you. So you may as well just take your punishment and go, well, we'll just take it right now. Because again, it's one of those things of like, if you plead guilty, if you plead not guilty and you get found guilty, you get a higher charge. It's a bit like this. Everton are like, yeah, we've done this, but we still want to kind of go through the withdrawal system. And then I think Everton have done the correct thing, massively correct thing, because they can take more points off you if they carry on. So yeah, it's a bit of a funny one. It's one of those things right now for Everton. Everton actually could get 50 points this year if you actually take out the points deductions. Everton can finish around 50 points, which is absolutely insane considering how shit they are. You know what I mean? Considering how garbage they are, it's absolutely insane. So fair play to them. I think they've done the right thing on this one. But yeah, it is a little funny thing on a Friday.
Like I say, all this stuff comes down to City's looming and dooming stuff in the background over there. But if you have not read it, I would definitely recommend Chris Hallenbrook's article that came out looks like 5 days ago or so. Yeah. And I know you got a lot of interaction online too, a lot of feedback from different people in terms of like the virtue of point deductions with Sean Douche on the cover over there. Thank God Sean Douche's face is covered twice with his hand and the banner. But Anan, it basically comes down to you can't punish people who do financial stuff with money because it doesn't hurt them at all. But I guess to me, the thing that I don't get and that bugs me is, one, obviously the City one, but two, how the hell are they determining these points in the first place? Because it looked like a bargaining thing when they did the first Everton one. There were 10. They were like, oh, come on, man. Okay, 6. Like, and then it would just like throw the dart, 2 points, and then like deduct 2 points. How do they reach these? It feels way too subjective.
I would feel good if they tell us what the system is. Listen, if you get caught doing this, we'll punish you this way. If you get caught between this amount and that amount, we'll punish you this way. That's never going to happen because here's what will happen. If we get that sort of clear system, we're all going to say, then you need to deduct 47 points from City. Then they lose these titles. This happens, that happens. Now they look bad. They're not going to do it. This isn't just to punish Everton. This is to protect the Cities and the Chelseas and those big teams. So we're never going to know what the system is. What we are going to know is big clubs will never get caught.
Yeah, is that pretty much the system, Kazi, that you will not know the system? It's like the Coke formula?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. But the reason why, and I've got to agree with the Premier League on this, so I kind of disagree with that a little bit. The Premier League's argument is if we tell you the system of why we take the points off, you go, well, if you spend over this amount, you get a 5-point deduction. But if you're 4 points off the Champions League, well, you may as well spend it. And fuck it, we'll just take the points deduction and go for it. That's what they don't want. They don't want the clubs to go, fuck it, we'll just take a deduction and go for it. We'll just sign that extra player who can get me 15 goals to get me into the Champions League or stay up in the league. And we'll just take 5 points because you already won 10 on the back of his signing. Do you know what I mean? So that's the argument that the Premier League have.
Yeah, but doesn't that go back to your speeding ticket thing? Like you get a certain amount if you're 10 miles over. If you're like 20 miles over, you get a different thing.
Yeah, of course. In terms of that analogy, yes, in that sense. But I understand the Premier League's point of view a little bit because they don't want people taking the piss. For example, with Chelsea. Chelsea got, no, okay, we've overspent, say next year, because Chelsea thinks happens next year. It's not this year. Everyone just fucking relax. It will happen next year, right? And then the argument is if they go to Chelsea, you're going to get that 12 points. And Chelsea are going to go, okay, then. We'll still finish on 65, 70, and we'll be fine. And then I've got all these lads in on 8-year deals, and we're going to be absolutely fine. So I think it's a bit more of the Premier League needs to be a little bit blind, a little bit to it in terms of what they can show fans and show teams. But there's also a part as well. I know I do agree with Nanan a little bit. We need a little bit more clarity of why. But Everton have admitted fault. That's the difference in these arguments. Everton did admit fault.
Yeah.
So Everton were like, yeah, we clearly went over and we clearly fucked up. City have not admitted fault. That's why their deductions are taking so long. City are like, no, we've done nothing wrong. And that's why I keep saying this. When people go, well, Forest and Everton have been deducted, and why is it taking so long for City? It's because they're arguing it. That's why they're going to court. They're arguing this. That's why you go to court, and that's why you kind of go through this. That's why, again, going back to the guilty, not guilty charges, guilty people get charged quicker because they've admitted fault and you're in jail pretty sharp, and not guilty drags on for 3 years, 4 years. That's like that in most court systems around the world. So that's the kind of difference there. But that's why the Premier League have been a little bit more obtuse with what they can show the fans.
I understand that aspect of it. I really do. Like, you don't want to totally set the parameters out there so that, one, it also shows, okay, so we can go around it this way then. You don't want to show the full puzzle. I get that. But at the same time, it is kind of like frustrating, especially, I mean, we're not affected, thank God. And, I guess, I don't know what you think or how we want about it.
They're giving us points back.
Yeah, no shit, right?
We're not even close.
But, I mean, so we're not affected, but I'm just like trying to think of it from a perspective of a team that's within the vicinity of all these teams that can be affected. And I don't blame them for saying, well, how come they only got 2 points? You already got 6 points away from them or something like that. I mean, Everton has kind of dug themselves out of that hole, for example, with the points they've gotten. So it's not a conversation. But God forbid, at the end of the season, if they were like tied or something like that, I guess if I'm the other team, I'm like, hey, somebody has to come out and explain why it was 2 points for the second offense and not, how come they stayed up and we went down. I think they got lucky because it's not coming to that, especially for Everton. But I guess that's what bothers me, Anan, more than anything else.
Yeah, and again, welcome to the Premier League, right? We don't know what the rules are. We don't know what the setup is. We just know we're going to agree with it. It's kind of like a few weeks ago, they had a vote on the spending limit starting next season. Every single club agreed except for City, Chelsea, and somewhat Aston Villa.
And Villa for some reason.
So these are the clubs you need to look at. You need to look at their spending. Yeah,
you need to. They're like, fuck yeah, baby. We go spend it.
Yeah. You need to look at those clubs spending and understand that these are your prime suspects now. Like Villa just put themselves in there for no reason. They haven't spent shit, but they just threw their hat in there, and now like I need them investigated for absolutely no reason. But yeah, that's just the Premier League. It's clubs dictate what happens, and then the panel agrees to it, and they do what needs to be done, and they protect clubs like City, like Arsenal, like for some weird reason, Everton, who have been absolute ass for the past few seasons, but it is what it is. It is what it is.
Villa's an interesting one because Villa were actually close to the FFP line because of the signings that they made. Villa have actually spent money on the slide, under Gerrard's, like Luka Dean for 27 million and players like that. So they've actually,
they poured out some cash there, yeah.
So they needed this Champions League. They've needed, that was the worry for Villa. Like, if we don't fucking get in the Champions League, we could be on, this could be close kind of deal. But if they are, it looks like they are going to get over the line. It does look like they're going to get over the line in the Champions League and finish there, which will put them right absolutely fine. But the clubs that you actually should feel sorry for, weirdly, is Leicester and Leeds, who went down last year. And then Everton get a 6-point deduction based on last year's. And they're like, hey, any chance you could have done
By the way, funny you mentioned Leicester. Do you guys know what's going to happen when they come back?
They've got a deduction as soon as they come up. I think Leicester are going on -3.
So, Premier League is waiting like this for them to show up.
Leicester going on -3. But the weird thing is that Leicester, again, I've done a lot of things with this FFP stuff, so I'd like to think I'm kind of knowledgeable. Leicester used to do that thing of selling a good player all the time and to balance the books. So Leicester, for example, they sold Fofana for 18 million and stuff like that. They should have done Maddison that summer. They left Maddison go a year early when you should have done Maddison the summer before for the 80 million, and they would have been fine. I think they've done, I can't remember, definitely done Fofana. They've done a couple of others as well who left big money. I know Maddis is later on in that, but anyway, there's a few players that they've done for big money early on, and they used to do a big leave every year like a kind of a big selling again with Fofana and stuff. They should have
like Maguire, they did Fofana, yeah,
exactly. Maguire. There's a good one, yeah. But what's his name? Chilwell.
Yep.
Stuff like that to Chelsea. So they used to do one. They never did one. And then they get relegated, which we never expect them to get relegated. We always thought they'd be middle of the road anyway, kind of deal. You know, European places. I at least fought fighting for those European places. So it was a really bad season for them, but that's why they're getting their deduction. But there's also a part, that's why Brighton is so sustainable. Because every year they do a big one.
Yeah.
Or just do a big one every single year. Do you know what I mean? Like they done Caicedo last year, I think they done, and then McAllister.
Isn't that like, you know, the word was when they were being investigated, you know, somehow that's the loophole was never mentioned then, right? It was like pending for Leicester. I mean, if you're a team in the championship, like this is what I mean. Like I always think of like the guy who's getting like screwed in the background in situations like this. Because if you're in the championship, you're like, I mean, yeah, they should still be punished because they started the season with a leg up and on with, you know, yeah, I mean, they got promoted, they got the money there.
What? Have we lost him? Oh, that's great for us, isn't it? Hey, fucking hell.
Talk about Darwin right now. Let's go.
Now it's Reckless Friday, baby. Now it's Reckless Friday. There's no school teaching you. Fucking hell.
Okay, so, like, I mean, going back to that, I think it got cut off a little, but Leicester City and the championship teams, wouldn't the other championship teams expect them to still get punished? I realize they're in the Premier League, but they are still under FA. Shouldn't they be punished for it? Because now they started the season with already, I don't know, in some ways, an illegal squad, if you will.
Well, the question becomes, when these made these illegal signings, were they in the Premier League or in the Championship? They were in the league. Okay, when they come up, we'll punish them up there. And I know it's stupid. It's like, you know, if your kid does something stupid at home, you're like, okay, we're gonna leave now, but when we come back, I'm gonna beat your ass. It's pretty invalid, but it's what they did. It's, again, if we had clear guidelines, I'd understand the idea, but I guess it's as simple as when they did this, they were in the Premier League. When they go up there, we'll punish them up there. And I guess if you think about it, it's a really bigger slap to the face, because after the long championship season, they finish, they win the league, they move up, and then as soon as they start, they're the #1 prime suspect to go down again. And I think that is punishment. That is horrible punishment.
But it's not a punishment. Oh, I'm sorry, Kazi. But I mean, I guess my thing is, to the team that couldn't get promoted to the Premier League, they're getting punished in the process. And that's, I think, what bugs me more. I mean, you can slap them back when they come up. But if you're the team that barely missed the playoffs, you're like, shit, man, we would have been in the playoffs, or we would have been, you know, wouldn't be in the playoffs, automatically qualified if Leicester was punished for what they did.
This is the point, though, when you have different jurisdictions across the leagues, when there should be just one English league and we all follow the same guidelines and rules. This is the issue. Now, that's the issue with Leeds, for example. I think Leeds finished on 90 points in the playoffs, which is fucking insane to think about, that you finish on 90 points and not be in. I understand they have more games in the Championship, but I think Leicester finished 7 points above them on 97. And then Leicester starts centre-half for Connor Cody, midfield with Harry Winks, Dewsbury Hall, and then front for Jamie Vardy. It's not fucking bad, is it? Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a Premier League. You could argue a Premier League. You
have to roll out Vardy at this point, I think, but...
I mean, you know, the 36-year-old Vardy who's still going very, very strong at the moment. But, yeah, so you actually look at because I've watched a bit of Leicester, because I'm probably the biggest Dewsbury Hall fan in the world.
Yes, you are. Yes,
I am the biggest Dewsbury Hall fan in the world. And I hope Liverpool sign him more than life itself. But anyway, it's like, so you actually look at that team and think, well, that spine's a lower league Premier League set of spine. Like, I think Ndidi's still there as well. So that it's like a lower league Premier League spine, the team. And then the 7 points clear. It's all, you know, if you argue for Ipswich, for example, they finished a point behind them in the end to not win the league. And you can go, have you seen their team? And again, they've got point deductions and Premier Leagues. They get parachute payments when they go down, because as you know, you get rewarded for being shit. So Sheffield United will go down. I think Sheffield United right now have conceded 100 goals in the Premier League, but we'll get 60 million for the privilege for that. Well done. You've conceded 100 goals in the Premier League, but we're going to give you 60, 80 million for that, just in case. Just in case you needed any more money, even though you
get a goalie or something like that.
It's fucking embarrassing. It's embarrassing. You've offered nothing to the league. You've offered nothing to be whipping boys to our league. And by the way, you're going to take 60 to 80 million down with you. So It is what it is, but yeah, I understand the FFP arguments and I get people's frustrations. I do feel like we are in a process, though. It's nice to see teams getting charged, and it's nice to see teams getting punished, because Liverpool have been waiting for this for 5 to 10 years to come in. And like, are you punishing these? Liverpool have been self-sustainable, hoping, especially FSG's modern life, we're going to be self-sustainable because all these guys are not. And eventually, when the Premier League start punishing these guys, we're going to be in a wonderful position. We're starting to see the punishments happening, which is really
you
nice.
Being all FSG in and stuff. You.
It's a stretch. Nah, listen, are we gonna get that reckless today? Are we gonna go that reckless? I don't think you want to go that reckless.
I don't know. It sounded pretty reckless on FSG into me. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Listen, all I want is my players in. That's all I want. I want my lads in. I say this all the time about FSG. I don't care about how much you spend. Don't leave us short. Don't leave us short. Like, you've left us a centre half short when we were going to retain the league, and you left us midfielders short last year. I thought as well. Last summer they did not leave us short. That is one thing I will give them. They did not leave us short. I thought we might have been a bit short of centre half, but Matip, Quantas came in and stepped up, and Matip was excellent this season. I know Canate fell off a cliff a little bit. You know what I mean? And I thought we might have been a bit short at right back, but Trent has always been bulletproof. Apart from this season, Trent's been bulletproof ever since he's come in. So you'd always argue that, you know what I mean? And okay, you can get over that kind of thing. So just don't leave us short is my FSG argument.
Okay, but we got as good of an FSG endorsement from you that we've ever had, probably. So let's get to, you mentioned Kwanzaa there, so that kind of like leads me to the press conference, because I know that was one of the players that Klopp was talking about. But more importantly, he was talking about Harvey.
Yeah, that's good. By the way, I want to mention this before we go. Klopp's late for the press conference. I don't know if you know this. He's late for the press conference, and it's a viral video right now on Twitter. And he walks in and goes, "Sorry, I'm late," but actually, who gives a fuck? Which is, I'm really into the idea of he's handed this 2 weeks notice in, and he's like, "I'm doing fuck all for the last 2 weeks."
That's the impression I get from him, right? Like every time he answers stuff now, he's like, "Up here, I'm already gone," kind of a deal.
Well, actually, who gives a fuck? Just sits down, like.
Yeah, especially now that the title race is over. Yeah, it just definitely feels like, I'm just like biding my time.
You mentioned the yellow card, because if he gets a yellow card against Villa, he gets suspended for the last game. And he's like, "Yeah, I don't want to really get a yellow card." And I was like, even if he gets a yellow card, he's still showing up. He's not asked. He's like, "I'm standing there for the 90 minutes.
Yeah, what is the penalty? They're not going to arrest him.
Oh, you're going to get suspended when you come back. I'm never coming back. Like, I don't care. He's still going to be there against Wolves. I love it. I love this Jurgen Klopp.
But he was talking about Harvey, and he said, Anan, one of his regrets was not getting him more time, which probably would have been, I'm assuming, at the expense of your boy Szoboszlai, right?
Yeah. And I there was a point at the season where every Friday I would say, why has Harvey fallen out of favor? It was a confusing period where Harvey wasn't playing anything. He went from being our most used player this season to we just didn't see him at all. And I agree. I wish we saw more Harvey. The thing we know about him is the more he plays, the more he's informed, the more he's better, the more he's useful. And I do feel like we dropped the ball on that one. And I don't know why, but I do feel like that is something to regret.
Yeah, I mean, he specifically said that he regrets not getting him more time. I guess here's what I want to ask you guys. And I do want to say yes, I just can't. So I wanted to ask you guys, if you're looking ahead to next season now, and I realize new manager, new system, new formation, all that kind of stuff. But one way or the other, Kazi, do you look at Elliott and say, he's in my starting 11? Like, I'm putting him, and I realize like leagues are not one with like an 11 anymore. You got to have a 16 to 18. It's not like the old days and all that. Like, you can get away with 12, 13, like you'd be able to.
Extra games in the Champions League.
A couple of decades ago and stuff. Right. So, like now there's more Champions League and all the cups and all that kind of crap. But do you put him in as one of your starters in your head? Because I just can't. Or at least a scenario like that where Elliott is your penciled in 11. I just feel not confident about that squad for some reason. I don't even have a justification for it, but in my head, that's the feeling I get.
That's a great question. I mean, for me, starter, yes, probably, because I think he's earned it. I do think there's a part where if you work hard for things, you should get your rewards in life and in football. Do you know what I mean? If you work hard, you should get rewards. And I think he's been Liverpool's best player this season in terms of consistency. I think he's been excellent, and I would have him as my Liverpool's player of the year in terms of consistent level of play and what he's done for the team. There's been so many matches coming off the bench where he's won his games. And that by not by it doesn't have to score or assist. It's just his overall work rate and his contributions have been unbelievable. Yeah. Like you clearly know there's a talented player in there. He's 21 years old, which is absolute. I think he just turned 21 in April, which is insane. Yeah. Like the level he's playing at is insane. If Jofi had 2 yards of pace, extra pace, like people will be talking about him like a Jude Bellingham level of kind of footballer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He is slow. So that all right, that's his crux, unfortunately. But could he start for me? Probably. Yes, I would say right now, if I have to go out on a limb, I probably would McAllister and Elliott, and then a proper holding midfielder. I'd love a proper holding midfielder in the summer to be signed to go alongside those guys. And then Szoboszlai's got to work his way back in. He has to work hard, but also again we go back to it. If Liverpool go deep in competitions, we're gonna have 60 games next year. Yeah. Like Liverpool, if we all want Liverpool to go deep. If Liverpool do go deep, so there's opportunities, and Elliott's took his opportunities. That's the difference. Elliott's took his opportunities, where Szoboszlai hasn't, and other players around the team haven't took that up. Joe Gomez has took his opportunities. Everyone was quite happy, probably last summer. Everyone was quite happy with Gomez leaving. If let's get it right, everyone would be like, "Well, yeah, he can leave." Yeah, he's really picked up this summer, and he's really gone again. So, and now he looks like a stalwart, and we don't want to leave him. Do you know what I mean? So,
trust me, most of the fans will still love him too. I don't know why he gets so much hate. Gomez does, but
yeah, I have no idea. But I mean, yeah. So I just feel you have to reward hard work eventually, and you have to reward good play. So yes, I would say so.
I mean, the thing is, I guess you can, as a devil's advocate, if you're like Szoboszlai, you can maybe say, well, it's easier to come in and late in the game and change a game as opposed to, being the starting 11 and, like make an impact from the get-go. And I think more than that, Anand, it's just kind of like, with a new manager coming in, it's almost like, does everything in some ways reset? Klopp was talking about this actually. I think it was like the Sky Sports in an interview that he read somewhere. Trent saying, it's going to be interesting because everybody has to kind of like reprove themselves and stuff like that. Does everybody in some way start with a clean slate? Or is that just a saying? Ultimately, the new guy comes in. It's not like he has never watched these guys. He knows exactly what he's walking into.
Well, and we know how excited he is. He's probably sitting down watching tape right now, trying to get his team going for next season. But no, you're going to come in. There's some players with a reputation, right? Some players have that reputation to be the guy, the player. So he's going to look at this season. You got the likes of Salah. You got the likes of Van Dijk. The likes of Alisson. These guys don't need to prove anything. Those are the guys that are cemented in. But I also worry that he looks at reputation for players like Szoboszlai, and he says, well, before coming to Liverpool, he was this. Yeah, Harvey is still a young guy. I'll keep him out, and I'll do. This is what worries me, because even Szoboszlai said himself he didn't have a good season. He said he set the expectations too high, and then it just didn't work out the way he thought it would. So some players are going to come in with that reputation where the manager knows, and some players are going to need to prove themselves. And honestly, I think Elliott's going to be one of the guys that might need to prove themselves for the new manager. It's just this feeling I have that he's going to go with the names, he's going to go with the proven records, and he's going to go with the more popular guys to get him set up. His reputation to get him set up for the season. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting. Change is always good. Some people aren't always fans of change, but change is always good. And I think we're gonna enjoy next season. I just have a good feeling about this.
And that's the thing. That's almost like, and that's what I was thinking. Like, because I agree 100%. Because even if you start with a clean slate with a new manager, Kazi,
yeah,
your past work and your reputation and stuff like that gives you an edge up. And you talk about work rates, and he was talking about Klopp was actually talking about Kwanzaa as well.
Yeah,
he didn't want to throw Konate under the bus and say he's in poor form. When you don't want to say this guy is in poor form, you say the other guy is training really well. But what you do on the training pitch now, or what you earn on the training pitch, for example, in case of Harvey, is going to be a little bit out the window because the new guy is going to come in with his own ways.
Yes, I suppose so. But again, the manager's not the manager. Whoever the manager is, because we don't. Let's get this right. We don't know if it's Arne Slot. Let's get this right. We have no idea still because it hasn't been confirmed. And we all thought it was Xabi Alonso, and we all thought it was Ruben Almiron, and now we all think it's Arne Slot, and it might turn out to be Jose Mourinho. But we can all go from there. But so let's just But if you're the manager right now and you're having talks with Liverpool, you've watched Liverpool. It's not like a thing of like, oh, I've never seen Liverpool play before.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like you understand this, but I do kind of agree with the clean slate kind of thing. I do think there's a part where players can reset themselves. And Szoboszlai can reset himself and go, that was my first year in the league. It was fucking tough. I didn't realise it was going to be that hard. And I can come back next year stronger and better and go out and have a good Euros. I don't know if I'm sure Hungary are there, but go out and have a good Euros kind of thing and be great. And so there is a part of that. I think McAllister's going to the Copa America as well, I think. And there's that's happening in the summer. So everyone's going to be away. So I actually feel sorry for the manager that it's happening in terms of an international summer. Because you could really do with having the lads in early doors. Let them go. Do you know what I mean? Or at least having a sit down with them early doors and having meetings with them. But they're all going to be away, of course, on trips. But I do think it is that. I do think it is a reset for certain players. I do think the manager's going to have his own ideas and his own kind of players. I keep saying
so
it. Well,
does Darwin Núñez get a reset?
Oh, God, no.
Not to Kazi, no. But you would think to Slot, yes.
Oh, yeah, of course. Slot, yeah, for me, no. But I mean... For the manager, because I think
the thing, though, as a manager coming in, let's face it, all these guys have their egos, right? Every manager has a certain ego, and every manager thinks I could have done that better, or whatever the case is. As a new manager coming in, when you see Szoboszlai, I mean, like you said, Kazi, he's probably watching it. So you're Liverpool, right? So you know Núñez, you know what Szoboszlai done, you know what Harvey's done. But when you're looking at that, doesn't an ego of a manager say that's because when I get there, like this guy will play, he'll be a superstar again, or you know, like he's seen Núñez, your boy Núñez, he's seen him in Portugal. He was like, because when I do my system, it'll be back to that Núñez there and stuff like that.
It could work. You never know.
It's a clean slate, but not that clean.
It's like when you see a crazy girl and you're like, I can fix this, right? And that's exactly that's exactly what Arne's thinking right now. He's looking at Núñez and I can fix this. Yeah. You never know. It could work out. It could potentially be a disaster. We don't know.
We'll go back to the, because I think, by the way, I think if it's Arne Slot, I think he does Cody Gakpo. And that's just me. I just think he does Gakpo. Not because of the Dutch thing. I just think the form
more like this the system, right? Yeah.
Núñez could end up on the left.
Of course. Yeah. But then there's also a part, if you're the crazy manager thinks you can fix him, you can also fix Luis Diaz. So there's that argument as well.
Yeah.
But the argument is still what system works for Darwin. What system works? I don't understand the system that works for him, because Liverpool have provided the chances. He just has to finish it. So, in my opinion, the system works because he's been in the position to put the ball in the net, but he hasn't. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes the system doesn't work for a player, brother. If you're not getting in good positions and you're not getting the best out of a player, I think Liverpool have got the best out of Núñez this season, and he hasn't delivered.
Yeah, I think it's not a matter of system.
And maybe fix his head.
Yeah, exactly. It's not a matter of system. It's a matter of fixing the head, fixing the focus, the attention span, and you know, as soon as you get the ball and you're one-on-one with the keeper, whatever sounds.
He's not Sigmund Freud. Fuck me.
Yeah, seriously, we need a fucking Socrates to come in and talk to the guy, because at this point, he's got the talent. Yeah, he's the player. He's got everything. But as soon as he gets the ball and he's one-on-one with the keeper, it's just like, oh, and it just something happens. And listen, I've been there when I was like 7 or 8 years old when I first started playing, and I get the ball and I'm in front of goal, I get nervous. But that was like 25 years ago. And I didn't get paid to do it either.
And it wasn't on 150 grand a week.
And I didn't get paid to do it. So yeah, I think I read this article about how he needs to talk to a sports psychologist and all that, but I don't know. I think it's a matter of it's attitude and it's a little bit of ego. That's really what it is, because the whole deleting the posts and everything, the fans supported you. They backed you all season, and I'm one of them. The whole deleting of the posts just gives me ego and crybaby. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, see, I don't know, like the post, like we talked a lot about that, like last week, especially, or earlier this week, and maybe on the Monday podcast and stuff like that too. But like, I don't know what the posts were, so I don't want to like judge him if it was like that threats in his family and stuff like that. But the funny thing is, you guys talk about like having a talk and the psychologist and all that. You know, in the press conference, Kazi, Klopp talked about having a chat with Gakpo, and he almost like mentioned like maybe they waited a bit too long for that. Like he waited too long for that chat. Maybe he hasn't talked to Núñez, because it feels like, you know, whatever was said to Gakpo has made an impact, or maybe cleared his head. Gakpo is the same guy. He has the same body demeanor and everything like that. So that hasn't changed, but his play has changed. And more importantly, maybe his play has changed because his head has changed. Maybe that's what Núñez needs to that chat.
I thought Gakpo was getting the ball off a lot quicker. I thought he was delaying on the ball a bit too longer when he was kind of struggling. He was trying to find the perfect pass. I think now the ball's going into him. He's controlling it, passing straight away. And I think he's just getting the ball off quicker and moving better. But the Darwin argument, And I get that he might need to have the chat with him, and I do understand that, but there's also a part where you go, well, it is a mental thing about missing chances, but strikers are going to miss chances. The difference is with good strikers, they don't let it affect them.
Yeah,
that's what I think, because they go, well, I'm getting in the position, eventually it will happen. And we all say this, by the way, as fans as well, well, if he's getting in these positions, it will click for him. But he's still mentally got to be in the position to go, well, I've got to finish this. I seen a sentence from Ian Wright that's really stuck with me this week. I think it was Ian Wright who said it. Diogo Jota finishes. Salah and Núñez shoot. He finishes. There's a difference, he says. There's a difference between shooting at the goal and like, oh, it's went in, so it's a good finish. No. He picks a spot, Jota, and he finishes. That's the difference. And that's where, and he says that's what, but it's very hard to put down to someone's game, because that's something that you've got to do when you're a kid at 15 with 50 balls in the back garden, picking the spots same time. It's got to become muscle memory. So when you get in those positions, that you do that. I don't know if we can do that with Darwin. But my biggest issue with the Darwin right now, stats can blind you. Stats can blind whatever you think about a player. My biggest issue, he stunk the place out the last few games. Like, he stunk it out. I thought the second half against Everton, he was atrocious. Like, really, really bad. And it's getting to the stage, I think it was, God, was it West Ham when he come on? I think he was poor against Spurs when he came on as well. And you're like, lad, you're fucking 4-0 up. I think we were 4-1 up at the time. Like, come on and just...
Yeah.
There's no fucking pressure on you here to deliver. Like, you're 4-1 up, just go out and have a good time. The lads are passing the ball off to each other. Go out and get involved, you know what I mean?
But I think he's not thinking in that, like, he's not thinking, the pressure is not on him because the game is tied or we're trying to come back. The pressure, I think, is on him because of his personal performance. I think, if he scored 3, he got a hat trick, and the game is 3-3. That, I mean, I'm not saying, he's selfish and he would still be happy, but in his head, that would be a confidence booster compared to us winning 3-1 and him sticking up the place on that. And
especially the last 2 games with all the issues going on in his mental health, I guess, quote unquote. It wasn't about coming out and doing the right thing. It's about proving that he's the right guy. And when you come out on the pitch with that attitude, 9 out of 10 times it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And like when his appearance at when he came in against West Ham, he was horrible. He was horrible. I mean, horrendous against Tottenham. He was horrendous. Couldn't pick a right pass. I think it was 3 attempts at just a simple pass, and all 3 failed. So that tells you that when you're not there, nothing goes your way. So he needs to take this summer off, do his thing, and just think properly, clear his mind. And if, as his agent, quote unquote, is saying he needs to go to Barcelona, then so be it. But if you're going to stay here, just clear your mind.
But I think that's why, Kazi, that's why I wanted to bring up the Gakpo thing, because I felt Gakpo was doing the same thing. Like, almost trying to make something happen and causing trouble because of it. Because almost trying too hard can sometimes backfire. And whatever that chat was helped him. Obviously, it's not the same chat or whatever, but ultimately, your mindset is a huge part of your game, like the mental part of it. So especially like once you're at a certain skill level, that's kind of like what makes the difference. Do you think that is all he needs? Maybe like somebody to say, don't worry, keep going.
Maybe, yeah. But I think with the Gakpo one, I think Núñez has had more chances than Gakpo. I think Núñez has probably definitely started more games than Cody Gakpo has this season. Especially not in midfield like Gakpo has early on in the season. So as much as Gakpo struggled, and that's where that's why probably Gakpo's argument is, he's like, fucking hell, like, why am I getting his chances to get in the games? I'm getting 10 minutes towards the end. Again, playing with all these lads who were injured and people who were out of form and stuff. Do you know what I mean? When Núñez is getting the chances from the start. So I get this, that. There might be a lovely path if you're Darwin. And again, I don't want to just dig on a lot. That he's just going to go away with Luis Suarez and have a lovely time in the summer. There could be just an argument just to play alongside someone's boss. By the way, with a really good mentality and one of the best you can probably ever find in a football player. In Luis Suarez. Do you know what I mean? Like, they could go and have a lovely time together and be mates, and you know what I mean? And that is also a part as well, that he is away from his family, and I get all that kind of, I do understand all that, but it's been 2 years. It's been 2 years. Like, I always think of Suarez's like kind of mentality of like, I love it where Suarez just falls out of Barcelona and goes, well, fuck it, I'm just going to sign for Atletico Madrid with one knee and win the league for them, then just to really piss you off. And I love that kind of statement in a player where he's got that in him to go, well, I'm just going to piss you off now, and I'm just going to go there and win the league because you think I'm finished. So There might be a part of that, go and have a lovely time in the summer, come back and reset. Klopp's not there. A few players won't be there. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the players who could be out of contract, and like a Matip and a Thiago, and then you got other free players at the big three. I'm going to keep calling them the big three, who need to be re-signed. Or so there's going to be big changes for you in the summer, and you're going to have more chances next year. But by the way, this Barcelona room, and I want to really laugh at this one. I go to Barcelona, fella, a team who's notoriously patient with footballers. Yeah. You're going to have a lovely time there.
We also cannot afford to pay you right now. So you play a few seasons for free, and if everything goes well, we'll pay you. Yeah. No, but I think we go back to the conversation with Cody Gakpo versus the conversation with Darwin Nunez. The conversation with Cody Gakpo was like, hey, Cody, you need to do this. But with Nunez, it was...
Yeah.
And he was like,
Thiago was over there translating, or maybe Thiago is not saying what Klopp is saying. Translating.
Yeah, exactly.
That big thing with a net. Put the ball in there.
Middle, no goalie, middle.
Put the ball there.
So that could also have a lot to do with it, and I mean the language barrier. By the way, I'm not trying to like.
It's been 2 years though, Anna. Can't you learn English in 2 years with all that money?
Yeah, it's one of those like just like. I mean, it's very different. Bobby didn't bother to learn English, but Bobby did everything on the pitch that needed to be done. So Bobby could come in speaking Chinese, and everybody will understand him because of his football IQ. Darwin's football IQ is just run like a horse, just and then just miss it. So, and it pisses me off.
There's always that famous thing with Aguero, supposedly never learned English, but he was fluent in the dressing room because he couldn't be asked doing interviews. Because he was like, oh, no, like he couldn't be asked doing an interview when he's at City. And I'm hoping that was the thing with Bobby. Like, he just couldn't be asked. He's like, no, like, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Alisson and how much he's learned, right? I mean, he was kind of like Bobby initially, and I was like listening to him talk there. By the way, I was watching that Inside Anfield. This is the first time I've seen Alisson talk to the team before they go out. He's rarely very quiet, doesn't say anything, and like he was speaking English and all that kind of stuff, because that was one thing that we talked about captaincy with him. I know in the preseason, that was like one of my things, like his English to be able to talk to the ref, blah, 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 is not, but seems like that's there now. But yeah, I know what you guys mean in terms of language barrier. I mean, I don't think that's, I mean, you just pull another fucking third person in the conference room and have him translate, bring Thiago's ass. He's not doing anything. Bring Thiago's ass in there to translate or whatever. But
I know we've only got a couple of weeks after they can Klopp. That's why all these memories come back. But I love when Klopp was talking to Darwin and Thiago was talking to him on the bench, and Klopp just looks at him and goes,
he's like
what the fuck you just said?
That is not what I said, asshole.
That's what I worry about. Thiago is saying, dude, you can just get injured. The time's in a moment. You never know.
Come back to the bench. What are you doing?
We're gonna miss the guy, dude. Fuck. Now I'm sad.
So you're gonna miss Thiago. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
I forgot about this clip, and I want to mention it about Thiago. It went viral again yesterday on Twitter. Against City in the FA Cup semi-final, when he brings the ball down on his chest, he wins the head, like goes up for the header against Mahrez, wins it on his chest. He knees the ball and then hits it 60 yards to Salah, and the ball doesn't touch the ground. And Salah takes it one touch. And I'm just like, you are an unfucking freak of a
dude. You know, we watch Mac. I mean, I make fun of a lot about Anand with Thiago and stuff like that. But man, you watch Mac and you're like, holy cow. And it just makes me think that, you know, if we had Thiago on a consistent basis to watch, he's a joy to watch when he's playing. He really is. But keyword, when he's playing.
We forget. I do want to say this because he is going to leave, and I think we should have a little comment. Maybe that's going to happen in the summer, but with these players when they leave. That 2021 season, we nearly won all four. I think people forget how good he was that season for us towards the end. And Liverpool were getting over the line in games, and he was the only one who fancied winning all four. He was the only one at the end who went, oh, fucking hell, I fancy this. I remember us performing against United when we beat them at home 4-0. And I think he comes off after the hour mark, or like 70 minutes. And I think the United fans are even looking just to say, well, what the fuck is going on here with this lad? Like a freak of a footballer.
I think he's that kind of player. Like you watch him, and like as a fan of the sport, it's a joy to watch.
Yeah, it's a joy to watch. And
Let's change the subject, guys, please.
Honestly, that's what I always think about that 2021 season, and he doesn't get the love for it because he was the only one who really fancied winning all four. We were fucked towards the end. People forget how shit we were at the end, like end of April, and we were getting over lines in games, and we were struggling. And we were really grinding results. And it's because of him we ground those results to have a chance at it. And he was excellent in Paris as well. in the final. He's really good in the final as well.
Yeah.
I thought Kanate was man of the match, but I thought he was really, really good as well. And it's
it's been a shame, like it could have been, like what he.
Yeah,
Anana's gonna start crying. So let's get to the.
Thiago and McAllister in the same midfield, man. It's just like, oh my god!
That's now you got to see. He was already bowling up.
Someone to get the ball off us. No one touched the ball. Amazing.
And the river just starts pouring. Okay,
5-year deal.
Let's get to real quick. I mean, based to Monday's game. Based on what Klopp said, based on Villa's situation and stuff like that too, it ends up being. Let's go with the starting 11 first, I guess. But based on what he said, Anan, do we expect? Because we were talking about this on Monday Night Podcast, and I kind of expect the same 11 to be trotted out there until they cannot, and not just do this.
Same.
If he was staying, I can see him, saying, "Let's see what Gravenberch does," kind of like what we did with Jones last year. But based on the fact that Klopp is leaving, I think we're just trotting out the same starting 11 on the.
At this point, I hope he shows up to the game. That's really all I'm thinking right now, because he just walks in and was like, "Fuck it, I'm out. You guys go play, have fun." When you're playing for a youth team and you're losing 8-0 and the coach says, "Fuck it, just have some fun." I'm just really afraid he does that now. Yeah, you put out the same 11, you expect the same result. You don't give a shit what happens, and you move on to the next game, and it's your last game. It's home game, and
I think there's a part, don't we, where you just play the lads that you like and go like him. He gets a start. Like, don't be surprised if he does like a Curtis Jones, for example, and just likes it because I just like him and I like these lads and I want to see them play.
Go out on a bang.
It's kind of like Harvey's issue in, right? Based on the talk, Kwanzaa looks like we'll probably get the other start again. The back four fills itself then. So you have one. I mean, the only question is, I'm assuming Gakpo is going to be Gakpo, Diaz, Mo again. The only question would be Endo or not.
Yeah, but they've had the week off, haven't they? That's the argument for Endo. He's had the week off. So it could be an argument. He just goes, you know what, we'll just do McAllister, Jones, and Ellie and have a laugh. And because it's getting to that stage where you just want to have a laugh. And I don't want to see people fucking going absolutely insane on if Liverpool lose a football match to the team who's 4th in the league. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not away from home, by the way. Like, it's not like they're a really, really good football team. We're one of the most informed strikers in Europe. Like, they're a really good side. So there might be a part where the manager just goes, "Let's just have a laugh. Let's just win the game 5-3." And let's have
at the same time, watch. They just played yesterday and crashed out of the the Conference League, and they played poorly yesterday too. I kind of watched that game because Fenerbahce got eliminated to Olympiacos. Olympiacos got hammered at home by the Israeli team, and that was the wake-up call they needed, looks like, the rest of the way. But yeah, they got outplayed, and it looked like Villa looked like a team that was just like frustrated, tired. They have a lot of injuries as well. They just look freaking tired out there. So does that almost help us? This looked like a tough away game on, but it looks like it might not be. Like, we're going to be very fresh and very loose more than anything else, whereas you have a Villa team that's probably a bit more stressed.
And I think motivated with Jurgen's last away game for the club. And the attitude he came in with the press conference, he's bubbly and happy and excited. That translates into everybody. So I think overall it'll be, like Kazi says, just have a laugh and just enjoy the game. Don't overthink it. Just go out there, do your thing. You're professional footballers, just do that. And then the rest will happen. And if you lose, it's Villa. They're 4th. They just beat Arsenal 2 weeks ago. It's not like we're playing against this shit side that's like struggling in the league. No, they're in form. They're one of the best teams in England right now. So I like it. Have a laugh. Give Klopp his away send-off. Do it properly and move on.
Just have a laugh. Do you know, like when we beat Villa 6-0 there and Colo Touré scored? And it's just like, everyone was just having a big laugh, weren't they? It was just all like, let's have a load of fun. And I don't expect us to win 6-0, of course. But it's like, just go out and have a laugh, man. Go out and just have no pressure and no fucking vibes and just do your own thing. Like, again, with Gakpo looks excellent and he's scoring. He just looks lovely. And everyone wants to. I want to watch Cody Gakpo more and more because he just looks beautiful on the ball right now and he looks like carefree and just have it, enjoy it, man. Fucking hell, we got 2 games left of nothing.
Let me play devil's advocate. I just had to.
By the way, I know what you're going to say. Go on. If Fulham win and United win, you can fuck off playing like that. Yeah,
don't even. And United win. Do you go out and have a laugh, or do we come back here and redraw it again? Like, fuck the laugh, go out and win.
Yeah, it's not a fucking laugh of matter. You dare. You dare give that ball away, I will fucking rip your head off.
Oh God, no! Let's not even get that started.
I mean, listen, if Fulham win and United win and we win, we're back in this. I'm just saying.
It's one of
that is reckless.
Yeah, we can officially say we didn't lose the league; we just ran out of games.
Yeah, exactly. We just needed one more game. So I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Fulham doing the business. United just doing a weird United thing and winning the game. And then Liverpool.
Which I can see, by the way.
Oh, by the way, I love this.
United.
I just want to go back to next Friday. I want to go in the future if this does happen, of how carefree we are right now about this game. And then if those two results happen, how fucking stressed we're going to be against Villa.
Okay, you're going to play devil's advocate. Two can play this game. I can see us after those guys losing, and on Monday morning we're like, and then we lose points again at Villa.
I won't be here on Friday. I'll tell you that.
And Darwin misses his sitter, and Nan's flying into Barcelona personally. Yeah.
Okay, early predictions on our way out for the Villa game. I mean, obviously we're going to be back on Monday, so we'll be talking about that on Monday, and then we'll do the pre and post on Monday as well. But early predictions, what do you have on that?
Okay, no.
1-3, 3-1. The good guys.
Timuchin special.
The Timuchin special for the good guys.
After Fulham beat City 2-1, and United beat Arsenal 3-2.
Right.
The dream we live in.
Delusion.
Yes, delusion indeed. I think it's. I think I nearly got last week's result right. I said 5-2. I nearly got that because I think it's just going to be a bit of a laugh. So I'll just stick with it. I'll just say like 5-3 Liverpool and just have a bit of a laugh and just enjoy it. So
I can see it being an open game, and that's what I mean. Similar to the Spurs game, I kind of what I expected out of the Spurs game. I just don't know if Emery would Unai would do what Tottenham does and play that open.
No,
I just feel like he will play smarter than.
But I think if Liverpool score early, they know they've got to win, and the game could open right up. Do you know what I mean? Because it's so hard to play football when you just stay in shape all the time, and that's what he is. He's really good structurally, isn't he, Unai Emery? He's really good at getting a structure out of players and staying in shape, and then picking his moments to attack. When you've just played on Thursday and you've had a big blow to them, really, and then you've got to go again Monday, I just feel like if Liverpool score early, it could be wide open, and it just could be a laugh. So
let's hope so. I mean, I'm just kind of like approaching it like the Spurs game. I just want to relax and watch and enjoy, kind of like see like what Gakpo does and stuff like that. It's kind of hard to kind of like project from what you see right now with the new manager, new system, and all that kind of stuff. But I just want to enjoy the game again. And
I don't even want 2 wins. I don't even care if we win the last two. I don't even care. The only thing I actually want is Salah to score 2 so he gets 20 goals. That's all I want in the next 2 games. Just score 2, just to get 20 goals again, because I think he sets a record of like getting 20 goals in like fucking 5 of his last 7 seasons.
Something like that, right? Like how many seasons in a row, kind
like
of.
5 of the last 7. Because the only one he never done it is when we won the league and he got 19. Because him and Mane got 19 each and shared the golden boot.
But I need Nunez to hit the post one more time so he can have 10 this season.
That would be another record, probably. That would be Nunez's record. How many times a player hits the post? But yeah, I mean, I would love to see him come off the bench and get a goal and stuff like that too. It would be good for everybody to kind of like end the season on a high note. But kind of like Kazi, it's just like I of course I say that it will still bug me if the result was poor, but I just want to enjoy the play more than the result. Like if you play like shit and win 1-0, that won't mean much to me. I'd rather play pretty good and have a 2-2 draw or something stupid like that. So, but we'll be back on Monday morning with Mateusz over here, and then obviously we'll have the pre and post going on that day as well. So do join us then. If you have not already, give us a follow on YouTube as well. If you're just joining us for the giveaway, that we're having a huge giveaway on Instagram right now. So if you are not following us, you should be. Head on over there, follow us, click on the story to get full details on what to do, but definitely subscribe to YouTube so you don't miss any of the content. But we'll see you guys on Monday. Have an excellent, relaxed weekend where you don't have any Premier League stress, and we will be back Monday. Take care, everybody.